All right, so let's learn a little bit about volume automation, and I'll show you why. Let me go to our song here. Excuse me. All right. So you're going to hear, whenever this part, when the cinematic drums come in, it's going to be kind of a harsh, out of nowhere transition. Let me play it for you, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. You hear what I mean? It just seems a little like it just hits really hard. So and it seems a little out of nowhere. So what I'm going to do here is we want to use volume automation. So we're going to fade these drums in and until the volume is all the way up. You know, probably take a good 8 bars to fade them all the way in. So in order to do that, we need to do something called volume automation. All right, so I'm going to click on Cinematic Tom. So you see it's highlighted over here. This is the pattern we're working with. I'm going to go to the instrument or channel rack and just double check to see what mixer channel it's tied to. So we know it's on 17. All right. And that happens to align with, you know, the track number as well here, 17. Okay, so I'm going to right click here on track 17. And I'm going to go to track mode, audio track, and I'm going to choose 17. Now I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call it Cinematic Toms. Hold on, it's not letting me. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. So now this channel is tied to the mixer, or this playlist track is tied to the mixer channel. So when we open up the mixer channel, you can see that it's now named Cinematic Toms. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to add an automation channel now. So what I'm going to do is right click here and create automation clip. So I right clicked on the volume fader and I'm going to create an automation clip. Now you can create an automation for anything, any knob in FL Studio that you want to automate. You pretty much can right click it and create an automation clip. So in this case, we're automating volume. So there we go. So now when we go back to the playlist, we can see that Cinematic Toms now has a volume automation clip right here. That's what that is. And then up here, you remember how we have the patterns? We have our patterns, we have our samples, and now we have one automation that pops up here. This is all of the automation clips. Okay, cool. Now, if I didn't tie it to a mixer channel and I just went to track or channel 17, right clicked it and did an automation, it would still work, but it would have popped up. It would have been down here at the bottom. So this puts it right next to the track so you can see which track you're working with and just makes it easier to organize. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to remember how high this fader is because we adjusted it. You know, somewhere while we were putting this track together, we adjusted this to a specific volume because it's what sounds best in the track. So what I'm going to do is go right here to this little dot. I'm going to right click. So you see this little dot at the very beginning. I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy the value. So now it remembers how high that fader is and how high it should be by the end of the, you know, we're fading it up, right? So how high it should be when it gets to the major track. So here we go. Let's pull this over here. If it'll let me. Come on. Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit. Don't know why it's not grabbing it. Come on. I can't grab the corner. I am a little under the weather, so maybe that's partly why. Okay, anyway, let's go back over here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take this X-Acto knife tool here, this cut tool, slice tool they call it, and I'm going to cut off the end of this. And I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to right-click it to get rid of it. There we go. Bye. So now this automation clip is only as long as the drums. Okay. So I'm going to right-click here, and you can see it added a point. So I'm going to right-click again, and I'm going to paste value. And I'm going to do the same over here. Actually, I only need to do it to one end, but that's okay. Added a new thing. I'm going to paste the value. There we go. All right, so now they're both at 80, which is where that fader is, 80%. And I'm just going to pull this. Actually, I'm going to add one right here. There we go. So I'm just right-clicking to add these points. And the points are based on this. So I'm on the beat. You know, you can do beat, bar, half beat. Any of these that you want. Beat works just fine for us for what we're doing. And I'm going to right click here, and I'm also going to put this paste the value of 80% here. And then I'm going to take the end of this and just pull it all the way down. All right. Now let's hear that transition again, going into this section of the song. We have a decent transition going. I think it could have taken a little longer, actually. I'm going to put the point more here. Actually, here, let me Control Z, by the way, erases anything that you just did. I'm going to pull this more over here. I think it needs a little bit longer, and I'm going to paste the value. And then I'm just going to put one more right here, if it'll let me. There we go. To make sure it ends up at 80. There we go. Listen one more time. Cool. All right, that's pretty smooth. I like that. I'm going to call it a night for tonight. Let me hit save real quick. This is a good habit to get into. But when we get back on our next module, what we're going to work on is you can hear that crackling start to happen. And like I mentioned, it's because I'm recording while I'm in FL Studio, so it's taking up all of my memory. I'm going to show you how to consolidate tracks or consolidate your entire session. That way, if you're working on a computer that might be, may not have the best processor, you may not have a lot of memory, and you run into this problem, I can show you some workarounds to keep your session going without having to put up with a bunch of crackling. So hopefully that'll be helpful. All right, cool. So I'll see you in the next module. Hey, what's going on? I hope you've enjoyed this training. This training is just part of a larger course, so if you want to take the whole course, just go to this playlist right here. Also, if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get a lot of information on how to get your music into TV and film. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, all of those things. Let's go.